I just feel like I'm the champ, and at the end of the day, I'm just a fighting motherfucker. It doesn't matter if it's inside or outside. I can just fight. So I just feel like if it gets down to the wire and we gotta lock it up, I feel like I'm gonna come out on top because I know how to dig down deep and I know how to just fight.
I ain't even go front. Every time I hear that, that's it. That's it. Chills down my spine. But look, check this out. This is the first real video I did since they made the announcement outside of the announcement video. And I ain't go front. I gotta give Manny Pacquiao an apology. I did not expect him to step up and take this Errol Spence fight. I think his hand was a little bit forced though, because I know he wanted a big payday. I do know that. And he wasn't going to get it with Terrence Crawford, and he wasn't going to get it with Mikey Garcia because neither one of them accepted the offer that he provided them. So I honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if he would have fought Conor McGregor. That was on the table at one point, so I thought it was going to go that route. But maybe, just maybe, he saw something in the Errol Spence Danny Garcia fight that he wanted to explore. And according to Errol Spence, he said he wasn't 100%. And I don't know. Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. He said he was about 75, 80%. And question is, if he was 75, 80% in that fight, what would he be in the Manny Pacquiao fight coming up in August? According to Errol, he wasn't quite as athletic as he was in the Garcia fight as he was in the Chris Algieri and Lamont Peterson fight. But hopefully that won't be the case against Manny Pacquiao, because, I mean, Manny Pacquiao isn't a Danny Garcia. Manny Pacquiao isn't a Sean Porter. Manny Pacquiao isn't a Lamont Peterson. And Manny Pacquiao is definitely not a Chris Algieri. And I'm telling you, I don't know if an 80%, as he said, Errol Spence could beat a Manny Pacquiao. Pacquiao's going to bring angles he's never seen before. Pacquiao's going to bring hand speed to the table he's never seen before. This could be a disaster if he's not 100% in shape, as you know, as he said. Now, me personally, I thought he was just as athletic in the Danny Garcia fight as he was against Chris Algieri. I just think Danny Garcia was a better fighter than Chris Algieri. I think he was just as athletic in the Danny Garcia fight as he was in the Lamont Peterson fight. Only difference is Danny Garcia, and I'm not even saying Danny's a better fighter than Lamont Peterson because we saw what happened when they fought. But I do believe Danny Garcia had more in his tank left when he fought Errol Spence Jr. than Lamont Peterson did. But now, as far as what Errol can do to beat Manny Pacquiao, he's going to have to use that jab. Floyd Mayweather, he brought something to the table that Errol can bring to the table as well, and that's a good jab. Errol has a hell of a jab. He has a longer jab than Floyd does as well. Not quite as fast, but he does have a nice jab that he punishes people with. He'll have to use that jab to keep Manny Pacquiao in front of him and also turn with Manny when Manny try to create angles. I think maybe the biggest factor could be Errol Spence getting to Manny Pacquiao's body. Nobody's ever really done that before, and it'll be interesting to see what type of effect it'll be on Manny Pacquiao's 42-year-old body. I think their straight lefts might actually void each other out. Now, as far as on the defensive side, Errol is going to have to worry about Manny exploding out of nowhere in spurts. He did that a lot against Keith Thurman. That's something he's done throughout his career. Now, the way Errol can slow down Manny jumping out and exploding on him is by jabbing to the body and also an occasional straight left to the body. That'll make Manny think twice before lunging in and jumping forward and exploding. Also, it'll help keep Manny Pacquiao going backwards. Now, I'm gonna tell you straight up, in my opinion, if Errol Spence can make Manny Pacquiao fight going backwards and on his back foot, I think the fight will be very easy for him. And a lot of that will come from his jab if he's able to do so. Keith Thurman had his most success against Manny Pacquiao when he was able to walk Manny down and force him to go backwards. Matter of fact, that's when Keith actually got back in the fight, when he was able to do so. Now, you could argue he imposed the size on Manny, but it's more than that. Because if that was the case, Antonio Margarito would have had a much easier time. You can't just walk straight in on Manny. You got to be throwing punches as well. But if you can get him to fight going backwards, it'll definitely be an easier fight. Also, and he'll lull you to sleep and jump out on you. And he's also going to have to worry about Manny turning him. That's something Manny does a lot. And normally when he turns his opponent, he'll turn him on the left-hand side. Unfortunately for Manny, this might be problematic because he'll be running into Errol's strong hand. That's if he doesn't change what he normally does. And Manny Pacquiao normally circles to his right and sits on his opponent's left. But like I said, if he do that with Errol, that might be problematic because Errol actually is a lefty just like Pacquiao is. Something else that should be very interesting is the fact that Manny Pacquiao is very good at countering people's jabs, and that's with his left hand and his right hand. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can take away Errol Spence's jab by countering over top of it. That's going to be big in the fight if he's able to do so. If he's able to eliminate Errol Spence's jab, that's going to be massive because, number one, Errol will have to use his jab, as I said earlier, to keep the distance from Manny. Number two, to help keep Manny in front of him when Manny tries to turn him and create different angles. And also, Errol uses his jab very well to disguise his straight left. So all of that can be affected if Manny can counter over top of his jab or underneath his jab, because he's capable of doing both. But I truly believe Errol Spence's jab is the key to this fight for Errol Spence, that and his body work. Just like I believe Manny Pacquiao's ability to create different angles and possibly turn Errol Spence would be just as big. Matter of fact, to me, this reminds me of the Teofimo Lopez-Lomachenko fight. You had Lomachenko, who was the smaller guy. Teofimo was the bigger guy. Lomachenko's a lot of his weaponry, a lot of his arsenal is based off the fact that he turns his opponent, sits on their left, and exploits that. Manny Pacquiao does similar things. He also creates different angles like Lomachenko. Teofimo was able to avoid a lot of that out by turning with Lomachenko when Lomachenko was trying to turn him. So the angles was never there. And a lot of that also, a lot of the reason why Lomachenko wasn't effective also was because of Teofimo's jab. So this fight has a lot of similarities to the Teofimo Lopez-Lomachenko fight. But I don't expect Manny Pacquiao to go the first 6 rounds without really throwing punches. I think that'll be the major difference. And that's pretty much all I got this Head Bustin' Boxing's own Fight Doctor. Hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, hit me up in the comment section, and let me know, first of all, who do you have with this fight? But I'm just gonna go ahead and say probably fight of the year. Who do you got? Who do you think is gonna win? How do you think they're gonna win? And do you see the winner fighting Bud Crawford for Undisputed? And that's pretty much all I got this Head Bustin' Boxing's own Fight Doctor. I am out.